What's going on, y'all? Thank you guys so much for joining me today. So today I'm going to be doing a movie review on the new movie that was released this past Friday, which was November 19th, called King Richard. So this is the biopic of the famous tennis coach Richard Williams, the father of Serena and Venus Williams. So really quickly, I do have to check my notes to let you guys know who stars in this movie. So of course, Will Smith stars as Richard Williams. Then we have Demi Singleton. She plays Serena Williams. Then there is Sanaya Sidney. She plays Venus Williams. Then Anjanou Ellis. She plays Oracene or Brandy Williams, the mother. And then also there was a surprise here that I did not even know was going to be in this movie. Tony Goldwyn, he plays Paul Cohen, who was one of the first people in the tennis industry that really caught the eye of Venus and Serena. So this movie, I think a lot of people might be expecting it to be more focused on Venus and Serena, but as the title tells, this movie is really mostly about Richard Williams and his quest to get his daughters at the top of the tennis game. A lot of people that have been reviewing this movie have been saying that there's a lot of Oscar buzz concerning Will Smith possibly being given an Oscar for his role as Richard Williams. I will say he did an excellent job. Although, of course, when you're watching a movie and you see a famous actor playing someone, you're always going to see them as themselves. But I believe Will Smith did a really, really good job of making himself seem more like Richard Williams. He did change his accent, so he didn't sound like he usually speaks. The way that he was speaking in this movie, he had the Southern drawl because, of course, Richard Williams was born and raised in Louisiana, so he's got a Southern accent. So I believe that Will Smith did an excellent job playing Richard Williams, and this was a really, really good movie. Like and it's not like I was expecting it to be bad or anything of that nature, but I really, 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 really enjoyed this. For those of you guys who do not know me, I'm really not that much into sports, but the two sports that I do enjoy are tennis and football. And Venus and Serena are the reason why I love to watch tennis. Now, I will say I really don't watch it unless they're playing, but you know, they are the reasons why I enjoy watching tennis. I will say that there is a slight spoiler in this particular review, because I do want to mention a couple of the things that happened in the movie. One thing that brought me back to a moment that happened in my childhood. So, at one of the times when Venus was playing in the juniors, she played in the juniors for a little while. She was undefeated, if I'm not mistaken. At least that's what they made it seem like in the movie. And so after Venus had won this tournament in the juniors, they were all in the little Volkswagen van and they were heading back home. And, you know, all the 5 girls were in the back of the van. Mom and dad were in the front. And the girls, they were just bragging on how Venus was whooping that ass. You know what I'm saying? Like, she was going through these girls like it was nothing. And the girls was like, yes, Venus is the best. And da-da-da-da-da, blah, 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 blah. And, you know, Richard was like, girls, you need to be humble. You have to be humble. And the girls are like, what's the point of being humble when Venus is the greatest thing that's ever come? And I really, really respected the fact that Richard wanted the girls to be humble, because, you know, when you're not humble and you've got that big head, that can get in your way. And I think that was a really, really smart thing for them to do. So as they were riding along on the street, they stop at the store. And so all 5 of the girls get out. And then Richard, with Oracene in the passenger seat, he drives off. He leaves the girls to kind of teach them a lesson. And the funny thing is, this actually happened to me when I was a child. So whenever my mom would go to Food Lion, I would go to the magazine section so I can look at the wrestling magazines, because I was really, really into wrestling when I was growing up. And so a lot of times, you know, mommy would be shopping and she would go to the checkout, and, you know, when she would be done, she would expect me to, you know, be out there to, you know, be ready to leave. And one time I was not ready when she was ready to leave. And so I get to register and I don't see mommy, and I get outside and I don't see the van. Turns out she left me. She left me. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think my sister was with me as well. And so, yeah, so that just brought me back to a moment in my life when, you know, I dealt with the same thing. So I thought that was great. Also, the girl who played Venus, the way that she played just like Venus was amazing to me. And I actually saw an interview that she did with the news with the news outlet that she actually does the same backhand as Venus does. If you guys don't watch Venus, whenever she prepares for a backhand, she kind of breaks her wrist. And so that her racket is actually down at an angle before she goes to strike the ball. And the girl who plays Venus in this movie, she does the exact same thing. And I absolutely love that. There are a couple of moments in this movie where there are some lines that are said concerning Serena that, you know, she's going to be the greatest of all time and things of that nature. And I understand why they put those lines in the movie. Serena did an interview with Jimmy Kimmel saying that that moment actually happened. Now, before I saw that interview, I was like, I'm thinking that probably didn't happen, but you know, that actually happened. Richard pulled Serena to the side and told her, you know, I know that it's hard being under Venus's, being under Venus's shadow, and, you know, but your time is coming. Your time is coming. And turns out that actually happened. Another scene that showed Serena's prowess, is when Venus was at a juniors tournament. And Serena actually signed herself up at the age of 9 or 10 to enter into the tournament, unknowingly, with her parents not knowing what she had actually done. And so when Venus had walked off to get ready for her match, Serena kind of stayed behind, and then, you know, she registered for her match. And so she went on to play her match. And then one of the parents came up to Richard while he was watching Venus play and said, I didn't know you had two daughters that were playing this tennis game. And he was like, what do you mean? And so he walked over to another court, and then he saw Serena playing her match. And, you know, initially I wasn't sure how he was going to take that, with her being kind of going against maybe his will, because he didn't want her to start playing just yet because he didn't think that she was ready. But, you know, Serena came to him, and he was like, you know, go ahead, you might as well finish off the match. And, you know, everything was good. But overall, I really, really, really enjoyed this movie. King Richard is a great movie that shows the love of a family. Another thing that they dealt with is, you know, they had this one neighbor who was really concerned about the girls' practice schedule. Sometimes Richard would have them out practicing in the rain, and this particular neighbor didn't see that as a positive thing for these girls. These girls are in school. These girls, you know, they have to have a life, but, you know, at the same time, these girls really, really wanted to play tennis. And there was this one scene where the girls were coming back from practice, and there was a police car in front of their house. And it turns out that this neighbor had called DSS or whatever the Child Protective Services is, and she had made a complaint about these parents who were doing this to these children. And, you know, they dealt with it. And Oracene, she actually went over to the neighbor's house and confronted that neighbor. Of course, there was no kerfuffle. There was no there was no action, you know, as far as physical is concerned. But Oracene made it very clear that oh, girl needs to mind her business. And that's another thing that I loved about this movie. This movie caused me to realize how close my parents are to Richard and Oracene. Oracene is that mother that does not take any mess whatsoever. And that's what I loved about her. Even though she's very calm and she's very serene, you know, she really doesn't get out of character really at all unless you push her to that point. And it's very rare that she is pushed to that point. At least that's what I'm assuming. But this movie just made me smile. And it also showed the love that this family had, the love that they had for one another, and the close-knit family ties that they had. And there was also another point in this movie where there was some friction between Oracene and Richard. I'm not sure if you guys know, but Richard had some children with some other women besides Oracene, and that actually came up in a conversation during this movie. You know, of course, I knew that, but, you know, those of you guys who didn't know that, you will learn that in this movie. So Overall, I really, really love this movie. There was another scene where Richard took Venus and Serena to Paul Cohen, who was a coach for Pete Sampras at the time, I believe, and he just took them out of the blue to this country club and had them to play with Mr. Paul Cohen, and eventually, he decided to coach only Venus, and that was because he was doing it for free. Because at the time, Richard Williams and Oracene Williams did not have the funds to actually pay a coach to coach their children. But you know, initially I didn't know it was Tony Goldwyn until I heard his voice, and you know, after watching Scandal for 7 seasons, you know that voice when you hear it. So anyways, King Richard is an amazing movie. I suggest you guys all go out and watch it. If you guys have HBO Max, it is free to watch on HBO Max if you have HBO Max, or if you want to go out to the theaters. Theaters are open now, so you can go out and see King Richard. Please support this movie. It is a wonderful, amazing movie, and you will not regret going out to see this. Thank you guys so much for joining me for this movie review. I'll see you guys later. Peace.